There we go. We are live. Hi guys. Welcome to Thursday night Q&A with Capture. I'm Jen from Australia's Capture Paranormal, and tonight we have a special guest with us. We've got Rob here from Sydney Paranormal League. Hi Rob, how are you going?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Dale. Now, just before we get into the questions that we're going to answer tonight and the subjects we're going to talk about, just tell us a bit about your group and what you guys do, and what you're about, how you got into the paranormal field.
Yeah, we've been together for about, I think, 3 years now. Me and Jamie started up with Craig, and yeah, we've just been going out. We're doing our own private investigations, like at the Oaks and Springwood and stuff like that. So, yeah, just trying to set up the best we can, and you know,
Yeah.
doing a lot of research, trying to film as much as we can, and bring some true stories behind some of the areas and the true history behind it all and stuff like that. Document it
Yeah.
all.
Well, just off air, we were just talking about some of the local legends, I guess, that a lot of people, I get everywhere across Australia, but we were just talking about stuff in Sydney, that how the story can get bigger and bigger and embellished, and the facts seem to go out the door. And what you're trying to do is get the real facts, the real history, and dig deep into it and get the truth.
Yeah, correct. Give people that are getting into the paranormal field, if they want to go and investigate these places, they've got actual events and the true
Yeah.
story behind the different hauntings.
And just not the fairy tale.
Yeah, and trying to give like people, the true crimes behind the hauntings as well.
Yeah.
The true facts of what's actually happened, not the urban legend sort of thing.
Yeah, because there is, I mean, we find it all the time with different things. Is that and you can research the same spot over the internet, but the internet is, got 60 different version of what happens. But what you're doing is you're going back to historic reports and like police reports and things like that too, aren't you?
Yeah, so freedom of information through the police force,
Yep.
different, old newspaper clippings, trove,
Yep.
wherever we can find information, all the team gets in together and all chips in, and we put all the information together and try to work out what's real, what's not.
And how different is what you're finding to be closer to the fact, like in those old newspaper reports and articles and things like that, to how different is it to what we're actually told these days?
Yeah, some of it's a lot different. Like even we just got a new paper clip for the street with no name, and we just found out there was another murder that none of us knew about. A man
Oh,
shot
wow.
himself in the park, and it was from a 1970 something paperclip that we found,
Oh,
and
wow.
we knew nothing about it. So that's something else we've got now towards that place. So,
Well,
but
then
yeah,
you guys will be the ones to be able to to report that probably first up in the paranormal field, but actually do it with the facts
yeah.
and not
So
the fairy tale.
yeah, we try to keep the fairy tale out of it. So
Yeah.
you know,
We've got Jem. Hi, Jem. How are you? From Hectic Paranormal. Okay, Rob. So we're going to go through a couple of questions that I get asked all the time, and you guys probably get asked as well. Um, so yeah, we'll just go through those and just give me your opinions and your experiences on those. The first one is, what are the biggest lessons that you have learnt about the paranormal?
trust in your instincts and trying to not rely on the technology so much. Try to go off your personal experiences and what you're feeling at the place.
Yeah.
Try to get a feel for it, and you know, and try to debunk as much as you can. Like,
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
that's really important because so many people new to the field, I guess, have been watching these TV shows with, all the fancy gadgets and everything that lights up and beeps and flashes and whatever. And they see it on the TV. So that is their education of the equipment. But it's not until you've been doing investigating for quite a while, and that you experiment, I guess, and trial trial different ways of investigating, um, that you can get a true sense of investigating. Because I mean, the gadgets for us anyway, we did the days of, everything that lights up and that sort of stuff, but we found that we were spending so much time fiddling around with batteries and buttons and in the dark and that sort of thing, and we were missing that personal experience as well.
Yeah,
So we're trying to steer away from all that and just have those personal experiences. But you're right, trusting your gut, um, is
you
hard to.
find out so much more when you, like, we had one night at the manor when the energy was so high in the house, and then Trevor, the owner, had to leave, and when he left, the whole place died. And it was like
Mm,
that's something we couldn't pick up on equipment. Like you could feel it in yourself that the
yep.
place was just the energy in the place just disappeared. Like it
Yeah.
was amazing to witness. So
Yeah, no,
and
that's
stuff
awesome.
like that you just can't pick up with the devices.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Hi, Sarah. How are you, honey? Jamie Lee, thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah, and look, something that I too, I go with my gut, and I think that is one of the biggest things that it's helped me be able to trust my gut over time with it. But also for me, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is about protection and protecting myself and my team, and not just spiritually but physically. There's so much that can go wrong in an investigation, especially at night time. And depending on the location that you're in, well, they're not all nice buildings where it's safe and everything. Sometimes you're out in the elements, and um, there's other people around, that sort of thing. So something that I have really learnt, well, the paranormal's taught me, is how to protect myself and my team. So
Yeah, very important.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. Is there any location that you would not investigate?
Um, Not really.
No, well, that's what my answer was too. um,
I'll go anywhere.
for me, my answer was I'd basically go anywhere, as long as it was safe, I guess. But then I was starting to think about, well, where wouldn't I go? And I think the first thing that came to my mind was World Trade Center. So I would not go to somewhere like that where there has been that massive impact, that massive trauma. The only reason I wouldn't do that is because I'm sensitive to spirit, and I think that would be too overwhelming. Um, I think that would be a really hard place to communicate with spirit, because I think you would get so much and that you wouldn't be able to connect and get a story from just one spirit. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like some of our mediums, if there's been like violent deaths, they get really emotional, overwhelmed, and you know,
Yeah,
it's very hard for them to pick up because they're picking up, much more than what we can.
yeah,
So, so places like that where there's been horrible murders and stuff, and but where there's multiple, then it becomes, very overwhelming sometimes.
yeah. So that, I think that's probably the only place that type of place I wouldn't go to where there's been mass trauma and mass death. The other thing that we steer away from is any Aboriginal site, any known Aboriginal sites. Um, it's just a personal thing. I'm not sure how the Aboriginal culture feels about us communicating with their past. I think to me that feels like I don't know enough about their culture to know whether that's respectful or disrespectful. Um, so we steer away from anything that we know is known Aboriginal site. That in saying that, we have been out on investigation, and one particularly out in the Hawkesbury, where we had an Aboriginal woman come through. Now, we didn't ask for her to come through, but she chose to come through, and she chose to give us some really amazing information. So when they're choosing to come through, I'm okay with it, but um, we don't necessarily go out and seek that
Yeah, we have a few Aboriginal team members with us, and some are up in Darwin at the moment, but they get a lot of permissions from their elders and that to see what they can and can't investigate.
Yeah,
You know what's allowed, what's not.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Actually,
at the Oaks you get a strong Aboriginal presence as well.
yeah, we're catching up with you guys later in the year, out at the Manor, and I'd be interested in having a chat with those members of your team just to have that conversation and see, if I'm right in thinking that way, that we shouldn't, you know, me not being of culture, am I allowed to, or do I have the right? Is it disrespectful? And that sort of thing. So,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, it'd be interesting to have a chat with them. Okay, so how do you stop being? I've got this person who's asked this question a couple of times. How do you stop being fearful of spirits? As I really want to start to be able to control what comes through. So I think what they mean is, they've been going out on investigations, but there's still that level of fear. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our people, get scared of what's out there, what's going to happen to them, and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
I mean, you just got to try to embrace it and protect yourself as much as you can. And you know, like, I always carry crystals with me wherever I go, and
yeah.
you know, and
Where,
you know,
where do you think that fear comes from? Is that from society and the Hollywood movies, or do you think it's something else?
yeah, like Hollywood's given Ouija boards and that a bad name, and
Yeah,
and all stuff like that. So I think it's
yeah.
all just what people see on the movies and TV shows
Well,
and
Hollywood gives
stuff.
mediums a bad rap too. I mean, I don't know how many people look at me sometimes and they're waiting for my head to start spinning or something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I've had very few bad experiences out there.
Yeah.
So you know,
Yeah. Look, when I think about it, spiritually, there hasn't been too much that has gone astray. There's been a couple of times where we've had an entity come through that was not malevolent or anything like that, but they were just a stronger personality, and or had more aggressive, and a few of the newbies were a little bit freaked out by that. But trying to explain to them that, just as, if we go down the shops and we run into someone who's a little bit cranky that day or aggressive or whatever, it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's the same with spirit. So yeah, just trying to get that level of awareness, I guess.
yeah,
But I always think that education, um, reading, not the fables and that sort of thing, but educating yourself on spiritual matters will help you understand and maybe not be so fearful. Stop watching the movies, because the movies are just completely and utterly fabricated of what actual spirit communication is.
yeah,
Do you know of any movies that are close to what you've experienced in the paranormal?
not really.
No, me either. No,
Nothing
me
that's
either.
nothing that's like 100% what we do.
No,
So they're all over the top and exaggerated and stuff
yeah,
like that. Even a lot of
yeah,
YouTube videos, like they're just so out there. It's like anything we put on YouTube, we try to make it as real as that. What it is what we captured,
yeah,
and there's no sound effects. But a lot of these guys just throw stuff in,
yeah, yeah,
which
that's
is a
true.
shame.
And I think too, like I heard, not going to name the place, but everyone listening can probably guess. But I heard recently that a certain very uh, popular location in the States actually pumps um, a frequency through their property when visitors come, so that it makes them feel uncomfortable, makes them,
I did read that.
yeah, you know where I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a family member that's going there tomorrow. Actually, they're over there at the moment. They're going there tomorrow. Um, yeah. So I mean, it's all suggestive, I guess. But when you've got places that are manipulating, and it's the same with the YouTubes and the TikToks and all that sort of rubbish. Um, you can overlay sound. I mean, if you watch a scary movie with the sound off, it's not so scary. It's the music and the sound.
Yeah,
You
it's all
know?
those jump scares
Yeah,
and the sudden sounds to make you jump.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We went. We spent a couple of days away and did a couple of investigations and tours and things earlier this year. Again, I'm not going to say where it is, but everyone can probably guess if they know where we've been. And it was we did the tour, and we figured, well, we'll at least get to hear some of the history, and we'll hi Dee, how you going? Yes, that is so wrong. I think you're talking about the music being pumped through. But yeah, we expected that the tour was just a tour. It was a history tour with a bit of, ghosty stuff. But there are a couple of jump scares there, and that was designed to beef up the tour, which, to be honest, pissed us off a little bit. We knew they were coming, and I guess it's for the dollars and stuff. But Rob and I decided that we were no longer going to do ghost tours, um, for that reason, is that you're not getting the facts and things like that. So you're getting what they want you to hear and what sells tickets. So we try
yeah,
and steer away from those now.
yeah. I do the same,
Yeah, yeah.
especially
But
certain.
sometimes a ghost tour is the only way you can access a property. And when you want to get in and try and have a look at the property and have your own personal experience in there, um, I guess you got to do it. But all right. So yeah, I think if someone's feeling still a little bit funny, a bit fearful, but they want to get into it, I would suggest that they go and start with these tours. Just because a tour will provide you with those jump scares. If you can't handle those jump scares, don't go into the paranormal, because while we don't generate the jump scares, if you get them, you've got to be able to handle them. But it also eases you into it, I think, of just walking around in the dark, being in a so-called haunted location. So I think a lot of people start with the tours, and I think that's probably a good place to start. But educating yourself too. So for the person that sent that through, I think just educating yourself with the right content, not TikTok. Probably, there's good stuff on YouTube. So what was your YouTube? You said it was Sydney Paranormal Case Files. Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And have you got stuff up there now, or are you just in the developing stage?
We've got our Parramatta investigation on there, and
Okay,
we've
yeah.
just got different stuff that we've captured at the manor and at Springwood
Okay,
stuff. So,
excellent. Now your Springwood one's a private location, so you can't tell us much about that. But um, how do you when you get contacted, how do you decide whether to take on a private case?
well, so with the Springwood one, like a girl at my work knew the owner
Okay,
and explained to us what happened there, and the owner wanted to have someone come and investigate it. So we reached out to her, and then went up to the house, and it's been active ever since. Like, it's just crazy up there. Like,
yeah,
every night you go there, you can hear stuff moving around, or you capture something up there. It's just one of those weird places. So
yeah.
from what the owner used to see like nurses standing in their doorways. It used to be like an old nurses' quarters.
I was going to say there's a lot of facilities, health facilities up there, like the old Queen
Yeah,
Vic and
we
and
think it
stuff
was
up there.
connected to the tuberculosis hospital. We
Ah,
believe
okay,
so.
okay. Is it close by proximity to that you think that's why, or
We're only going off what the owners told us.
yeah,
There's not a lot. Like when you type in the address, and not a lot comes up. We've got something, but it doesn't relate to anything to do with the tuberculosis hospital. But the
Yeah.
gentleman next door said that his house was actually one of the wards,
Oh,
and that his
wow.
house and this house used to connect. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's just word of mouth at the moment. So
Yeah.
finding information on it's pretty hard at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay. Why do so many places why you like this one? Why do so many places claim to be the most haunted? What criteria are they using to be able to claim that?
no idea. There are so many out there.
So you're
So,
always hearing about this is the most haunted pub, or this is the most haunted house, or this is the most haunted cemetery. Um, I I think a lot of it is again, that's the fairy tales and the fables and the local tales and things like that. But I don't think there's any real criteria that people are using to claim that it's the most haunted. I think there's a lot of locations that are promoting themselves as the most haunted, simply for the dollar factor and to get more people coming in. And a lot of places, a lot of venues have in recent years decided that this is a great market to hit is the paranormal and the ghost tours and
yeah, it's
the
becoming a
spook.
big money thing at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
exactly right.
I mean, unless you investigate a place, how do you know how haunted it is? Like,
But that's
you
it. I
know,
mean, if you investigate one place and say, it's the most haunted, and I go there, I might not feel the same way. And then someone else might go there and say, yeah, well, it is the most haunted. Who's to say? I think you would have to, the only way to be able to figure out what is the most haunted pub, cemetery, whatever, is to have large numbers of professional teams all going to the same locations, investigating exactly the same way, which none of us do. We all investigate differently, um, and do some really intense analysis and have. You'd have to have all the diagnostics and all the evidence and everything like that, and that's just not possible to do
it's
that.
like
So,
saying this is the most haunted cemetery. Unless you've gone to like 50 cemeteries and investigated them all, how can you say that?
well,
Like, you just,
even that, I mean, to say it's the most haunted, you would have to go to every single cemetery to be able to truly claim that it was
and then you have
the
to have the
most.
proof to back it up, though.
That's it.
You know?
And it's only on your experience. Like, um, Sarah's grave is we were talking about this off air before, is a huge bugbear of mine. Yeah, I've been a local my whole life. I've been going out there for years. I went out there as a teenager, like most of the locals did. Um, but probably in the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, I've been there so many times. And we have conducted so many different experiments out there. We've used different equipment. We've taken different groups of people out there. And at no time um, would I ever say that it was the most haunted. There are claims going around on YouTube at the moment that it is the most haunted. Dee's saying it's all about the evidence. Exactly right, Dee. Um, the most that we've got out of there that I could confidently say spirit activity is, I think it's residual. And the reason I think it's residual is we've had no intelligent communication on any visit with any piece of equipment ever. And that's over like 15, 20 year span and like many, many visits. There is definitely energy there. You can feel it. But is that suggestive?
I'd agree with that. Like, after our conversation I had with you a little while ago, I did a lot of research on that place.
Yep.
And even the videos that you see there, like, you don't get, you know, reactions to answers, like machines going off to questions.
Yep.
It's just not that active. That's
No, it's
from
not.
what I can see. We
I,
haven't
I
done it yet. It is a place we wanted to go, but
Well,
we
you
haven't been
should.
out there yet.
It's a lovely little spot. I mean, it's actually a little bit sad. There's some little babies' graves and things like that. But I mean, that's the sign of the times that back then too. That there was no modern medicine and things like that. But We have never had any intelligent um, communication out there at all. Now, a lot of people say, "Well, why is it so creepy?" And I said, "Because we're designed to believe that death and bodies being buried in the ground is creepy." Um,
I
I
don't find
guarantee.
cemeteries scary at all.
No, well, I
I
guarantee
actually like
that
them.
I
I
think
find them
it's
quite
peaceful.
peaceful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I've always been told I'm a bit weird because I like cemeteries, but it's peaceful. I find them full of history, and I love, um, I love standing there and seeing the family graves for a couple of reasons. One is that it's nice that they've been put together and that they're finally resting together despite whatever happened in their lives or who went first, but their family are now reunited and they're laying to rest together. But I also like reading the gravestones and connecting the dots and just thinking about, wow, um, trying to sort of step back in their shoes, I guess, and think about the struggles that they would have had back in, the 1800s and early 19s and things like that. And I just find that really peaceful and beautiful. I don't, again, I think it's the Hollywood effect of what that's making cemeteries spooky. I mean, there's been no legitimate reports of anyone rising out of a grave and chasing someone out of a cemetery. So
Yeah. That's all movies.
it's all movies. That's right.
Yeah. Like we went
Um,
down, when we went to Beechworth, we went to the cemetery there, and the history was amazing.
yeah,
Like all the different graves and the
it's
families and
incredible.
who was buried down there. We spent about an hour or 2 hours down in this, just in the cemetery.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's incredible. Jamie Lee is saying also spirits are not circus animals. Exactly right. They don't perform on command. Exactly right. So, um, but having these, TikTokers and all that sort of thing going in, they've bought a K2 and they've played on a Ouija board once or twice. They think they're investigators and they're going into these locations being disrespectful to um, the spirit world, and they're walking around just saying, "Oh, this is so creepy! It's so creepy." There's nothing at Sarah's grave or that cemetery that is scary except for the cranky rooster that lives in the property opposite, because he gets through the fence and he will chase you. That's the only scary thing out of that cemetery.
I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I think it comes down to people wanting attention, saying that things are the most haunted. I think it comes down to a lack of education. I think it comes down to people wanting dollars. But like I said, unless a massive amount of teams all went investigated every single property and we all investigated in exactly the same way, then we can't really say that it is the most haunted.
100%.
So, yeah, yeah. So anyone that claims something's the most haunted, I don't believe them. Sarah's saying death by rooster. Yeah, he's pretty vicious. He's chased us a couple of times. We've been out there. He's like the guard rooster, but um, don't go out when you do go out there, Rob. Don't go in summer. The place is covered in black snakes. So,
Wow.
yeah, go in winter. All right. Let's have a look. Why do certain towns or hotels seem to be more haunted than others?
I think it's just the history that the tales that people say, like, you know,
Yeah.
like Picton and places like that. Just the history makes it, you
Yeah,
know,
so some areas are older, they were established earlier, meaning that they, probably had a lot more people and activity in those towns. There's like Ballarat and Beechworth and all that. Those towns were big hubs. Bathurst, even Penrith was a hub. So all those places, I think, because of the length of time that they've been established and the amount of people that have come through there. Um, but I also think too, like a lot of our historic stuff, going back to the health system, I guess, is there were so many diseases and things like that around that they didn't have the medicines for. So there was a lot of death, and I mean, you only have to look at the changes in childbirth. You know, thankfully, we don't lose as many babies these days as they did back then. So I think there was more harsh death and quick and mass death than what we have now. I mean, besides COVID, but you think about all the different plagues and tuberculosis and all the fevers and things like that. So I think that contributes to the history of and the energy imprint of a town too. So
Yeah, I agree.
um, I also started looking into it, but found it really difficult. Interesting, but difficult was whether the towns and areas that seem to be more haunted, are they laying on ley lines, like the energy lines of the earth? And it's something that I started getting into, went down a rabbit hole, and then had to give it a break, and I've never gone back to it. Have you ever looked into the ley lines and things like that?
Yeah, we've got a few of our team members that are into that and look into where the ley lines are and stuff like that, water supplies, and
Yeah,
well, spirits can travel through water and use the water channels and stuff like that. So we looked
yeah,
in at what runs it like with the Oaks. There's four, I think, three major water areas there.
yeah. And
So
and
which
Dee's
run
just
straight through
saying,
the property.
yeah, Dee's just saying, areas built on limestone as well.
Mm.
And sandstone. Like, have a look at all our old buildings. They're all made of sandstone. You've got quartz and everything. So that all holds energy as well. It transmits energy. So yeah, I think that's got a lot to do with it too. Like if we've got a um, a city that's full of old buildings with limestone and things like that, we probably are the energy imprint from way back when is probably still there. So Sarah's saying lots of life energy over so many years. Yeah, I agree. Um, so yeah, I think it's the population as well, and any trauma or anything like that, the ley lines possibilities. So there's lots of different reasons, but um, you know,
Yeah, I think trauma and the conditions, how people used to live, all affect it.
yeah,
They had really bad times living, and it was a hard life, and
it was a
people were
very
dying.
hard life. Yeah, and they
You know,
didn't have all the modern conveniences. They didn't have the healthcare service. I mean, they wouldn't have even understood what mental health was, um, but they would have suffered it.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think all that impacts. So, okay, how can you tell if someone is really a psychic on an investigation, or are they just when they're just making it up?
Good
I'll let you
question.
answer this one because being a medium, I'll just sit back for this one for a minute.
How do you? I got no idea. Like, I mean, unless I go off what I know about the place and see what they pick up. I don't tell them any information. I
Hmm.
just see whether they pick up what we already know.
Yeah,
But besides that, I mean, they could tell you anything. Like,
yeah,
you don't know. So it's hard
yeah.
to spot.
It is hard to spot, and I think that's one of the reasons I don't um, investigate the history of somewhere before I go. Is one because I want to know myself that what I'm picking up is legitimate, and there's no power of suggestion. But I also want to make sure that the people that I'm with, um, have that experience as much as I can give it to them as well. Of you know me that wow factor or that moment of holy cow is when a medium walks in and can feel energy and everyone else can sense it, but the medium's feeling it, and then the medium will come up and start giving you names or dates or scenarios or things like that that they've already looked into and researched. So I think it is hard to spot. And each medium works differently too. So we all get our information differently. So you could have myself and another medium, and they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. It's going to look very different. So it is hard to pick and spot, I guess. But I think you've got to be. Can't believe I'm saying this as a medium, but I think you have to be a little bit skeptical. There's too many people, and I see it myself, is they want to hang on to every single word that a medium says. And we just discussed this recently in the course that I'm teaching, is that we all get our information differently. And the way we interpret what we're getting, it's our job to interpret what we're getting and to relay that message. Now, two mediums might get the same information, but might relay it differently. So it is extremely hard to spot a fake, I guess. But I think you need to be a little bit skeptical when you go onto an investigation, whether you've got a medium there or not anyway. And I guess just like a good paranormal investigator would debunk everything, I think they also probably have to try and debunk what the medium's saying to a certain extent too.
Yeah, well, we had two mediums come down, I think 3 weeks ago, to the street with no name. They were picking up the same information, but they're picking it up a lot differently from each other and from different
Yeah.
angles and different views, and how it was being presented to them and stuff. Like, one said she could hear, one was saying that she was getting images, and
Yeah.
but they were coming up with the same answers, but
The
I
same
guess
information, but just receiving it differently.
it's how they perceive it and how they receive it themselves, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Um, why do paranormal teams usually wear all black?
No, we don't. We wear anything. A lot of teams do. So.
Yeah, I don't. Our shirt is black with the logo and stuff on it, but it depends on where we go. I don't consciously wear all black, but a lot of the places that we go to, it's not like you wear a white shirt there because you're going to get filthy.
Yeah.
Also, to different
I think
colors.
wearing black at night too sometimes it can become a safety issue as well.
It can.
So yeah,
It can.
yeah,
It's also difficult to. We've found it when you're wearing all black, is that you're sitting in the dark, we're all in black, and you'll see something out of the corner of your eye. When we're wearing black, you're not really sure whether it's another team member or if it's an actual shadow.
yeah.
So that can be. And Dee says, I do, my favorite color. Sarah's saying, be skeptical until they prove otherwise. Yep, yep. D, the best test is to invite them, but take them blindfolded. That's a good idea. There are so many fakes out there. That's a very good idea. Actually, the next location we go to, I might get someone to blindfold me, not tell me where we're going, and blindfold me and do that experiment. That's a good idea, Do.
That'll be
Um,
interesting document.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so wearing black, there are certain locations, especially outside, where I will wear black, just because, other colours, it hides a lot of the dirt and the Sarah Sarah's that's true, Sarah. Sarah's saying black hides all the bumps.
It does. That's why I wear it.
Makes us look a lot slimmer. Yeah, I think maybe there's an aspect of people wearing all black because it's dark and mysterious and it's the color of death, I reckon. But me personally, a lot of my wardrobe is black. Because I'm just such a happy soul. I wear black all the time. But yeah, on
I wear
investigation,
whatever's comfortable on the day.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I think that I've got certain pieces of clothing. Like I don't wear my good jeans out. I wear old jeans, and one of them has to be just happens to be a pair of black jeans. The other one's blue. I'm not really thinking about um, fashion, I guess, or being all dressed in black. I'm thinking about what's comfortable, what's going to keep me warm or protected from the elements, and if I'm climbing over a fence and I rip my jeans with barbed wire, am I really going to care about those jeans? So I'm not really thinking about the actual color. So good question though. Um, do you? I hate this question. Do you believe that dolls and other items can really be haunted? I'm just going to put my hand up. I hate dolls and clowns.
A lot of people hate dolls. I mean, things can get attachments if it was owned by the people, but I don't know. Like, we've had stuff that we've got reactions off, or you know, EMF readings off and stuff, but you know, you got to debunk it as well. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
things can have attachments to it. If it was a kid's doll or something that they really loved, and they got a personal attachment, and they're still in that house, well, obviously they're still going to have attachment to that item.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's right. I think I do believe anything can have an attachment. And you're right, it's all about something's more likely to have an attachment if it was greatly loved or used a lot or, that sort of thing. But the amount of, every day you turn on social media and someone's got a photo of a creepy ass doll they're claiming to be haunted or, you
or
know,
selling.
or selling. Yeah, yeah. Um, I just don't believe that many dolls in the world could be actually have attachments.
Yeah.
If
I
that's
like to
true,
know the
then
stories behind the attachments, or why they saying it is. Like,
yeah,
like try to get behind the facts about it first. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I've never, even as a little girl, I had one specific doll that, um, it was my favorite, but I was never into dolls. And just as I grew up, I just, ugh. Thankfully, I had three boys, and none of them wanted to play with dolls. So, yeah, dolls have never been something that we've never used them in investigations. There's been times where we've been with other groups that use dolls, and I will just stay out of the room. I don't know what it is, but Lee's saying I do. I hate clowns as well. Yeah, Lee, one of our team members, has a story about that. Rob,
Which one?
I don't know. Dee's saying Lee, one of our team members, has a story. Not sure. Okay, so a couple more questions. Um, why does why do some people, and this could get me into trouble, this one. Why do some people charge for private investigations while many people don't?
No idea. I know we charge if we've got an agreement with the owners.
Yep,
If we're covering costs that they're going to lose, but
yep,
besides that, we if it's if besides that we don't charge. I don't think you should be charging teams to go out. You
yep,
know, so
yep. I
if we're
I
taking income away from these people, then yes, we'll cover the costs,
yep.
and like we do at the Oaks. But you know,
But you
and
you don't you don't go out, like for example your private one at Springwood. Do you charge them a fee
we've
for
got
you to
an
come out?
agreement with the owner. We all pay a fee to go up there, but
Yep.
the lady who owns it is like on a disability and is struggling. So by us going there, it helps her keep the place and allows us
But
to get
that
in.
but that's you paying her. She's not paying you to come out.
No, we don't. No, we
Yeah,
don't never charge clients to go anywhere.
yeah, no,
So
we don't either. And I believe that a lot of people say, "Oh, why is it so expensive to go and investigate a property?" You've got to think about Each property is different. If it's a business being run in there, well, that's a business, and
Public liability.
yeah, they've got to take liability of having extra people on the property doing an activity that is not in their constitution. So they have to cover their bums. So they have every right. It's a business to generate that money. Places like well, the two that you're doing is your private one at Springwood, and the manor, the Oaks, both of those are privately owned, and those people are generous enough, even though they both want help and answers, they're generous enough to open up their homes, their private homes to you. So I believe that we should pay something to go there, and in your cases with your two, both of those people are that money comes in handy for them and helps them with their life. But I
That's
think
it.
what this is talking about is either a paranormal group or a medium charging a client.
We don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't
we
believe
don't
in
either.
that.
Never do. I think I have seen some that do it, and the pricing structure is, I don't know how they work out their pricing structure. Some are a little bit, some are quite extensive. Um, I think that comes down to just the money factor. Um, but I do believe that if a client wants you to come out, so someone in Queensland wanted me to come there, and I couldn't help them over the phone. They were desperate and they wanted me to come out there. I would always try and find a local team for them to go and help them. But I guess if you're being called out and you've got expenses, I guess it's reasonable to get the client to compensate you, I guess. But I just see it as we're able to do something, we have a knowledge on something, and if we can go out to help somebody, I don't see that it's right that we charge.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's wrong. Um, but each to their own. I know that some people probably charge to make themselves maybe seem a little bit more professional, that their services are top of the line and worth charging for. I don't know, but we would never ever do it. All right, last question. Um, People say that they get psychically attacked. What does that really mean?
No idea.
Okay, so
Psychically.
for us, um, being a sensitive, there are many times where spirit can come too close. Um, that we do get some aggressive spirits. Again, they're not the demon or the devil or anything like that. They're trying to get your attention. So I think when someone says that they've had a psychic attack, I think they need to clarify it a little bit better. There's a psychic attack, and then their scratching and everything is a physical attack. So I think that
We've
um,
had members scratched and stuff like that, but we've had a lot of physical stuff more than mental or psychic.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, myself, I get a lot of. I wouldn't call it attack. Psychically, I feel more that the physical stuff you could class as an attack. Being scratched up and pinched and pulled and that sort of stuff. But I think you have to be very careful using the word attack. Um, that denotes that you've been beaten up.
yeah,
um, and I think that's part of what scares people, thinking that they're going to have this unseen force punching them and scratching them and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
My
know.
daughter was scratched at Parramatta Jail, and Yeah, that's
Parramatta
what the,
is renowned for it.
yeah.
Yeah, I had it.
But then, like when she got scratched, there was also a voice we picked up that, like, it sounded like it said, "Come sit with me," as if the voice was trying to protect her after she got attacked. So, and we
Well,
picked that up on quite a few devices.
that's interesting because you could take that a couple of ways. It could be that one entity has scratched her and another one's saying, "Come and sit with me, like I'll protect you." Or it could have been um, that same entity who's reached out and hasn't meant to, but has scratched,
Yeah,
um, and is saying,
yeah,
"Look,
we
no, no, don't go. Come and sit with me." So, um, have you been scratched yourself?
no,
Yeah,
I've been touched. I've been, you know, I've been physically touched, but no, nothing. Never been injured or anything.
yeah.
Never been scratched or
Parramatta Jail is renowned for scratchings, and I'd love to have the time to be able to do a call out to everyone that's legitimately been scratched there and see if it's all in the same location. There's two locations in that place that I've had a been physically touched, scratched, and one was more violent than the other. But then again, I don't know, maybe it's just people's reaction to um, the actual being touched, I guess, because if you're not used to that, then that can be scary and feel like you're being attacked.
yeah. So like we got on the YouTube video on that we've got up, you can actually see the scratch marks, and then you can hear the voice that we picked up, and it was just weird, like
So
very
that's on your
strange.
YouTube.
Yeah,
So your YouTube is Sydney Paranormal Case Files.
yep,
Excellent. All right,
yep.
great. So does anyone that's watching, does anyone have any questions or, you know, any comments to any of those questions at all? So what have you got coming up? I know that we're crazy busy at the moment, and we have been meaning to catch up with you. We've discussed privately a couple of things that we want to try and do in the field, but we are catching up with you guys later in the year out at the Oaks. So what else have you got for the next few months?
We've just been concentrating mostly on Springwood. Like that
Yep.
place has been, you know, quite interesting, and the guys that have been out there, like, all picked up different stuff. Like, you know, it's just one of those places that from the minute we walked in there, we started to pick up stuff, and just the feeling around the place is amazing. So,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
it's good that you're being able to help the residents try and understand what's going on too. So, um, they must feel better that having someone come out there and be able to try and help them.
yeah. So, but besides that and the manor, I mean, they're our two main ones that we've got going. So,
Yeah.
but, I think Trevor likes company out there as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
how many people are in your team?
Um, Jamie might be able to help me here. I think it's 10. I think
Okay. Yeah.
from memory.
And they're everyone's involved in all your investigations, or you have select people going out when they can.
No, all our investigations are open. Whoever can make it comes.
Yeah.
Like some people have to travel and it costs money to come down to places. So, they might not make every, like Springwood's not, we've got people from the Central Coast that have to come down. So it becomes
Yeah.
expensive. So we put the invitation out on Facebook, and then whoever shows up, shows up. There's no
Jay,
pressure for any team.
Jamie's just saying the overnighter coming up, Rob.
Oh, yeah. So we're doing a 4-nighter over at Springwood. So we're going
Oh,
to actually
okay.
sleep over there and see what reactions we get. Because a lot of the stuff that the owner was saying used to happen when they were asleep. So
Right.
we decided next time we go there, we're going to do an all-nighter,
Yeah.
not just leave at midnight or 1, but we'll stay the whole night and see what
And
we can pick up. And
are you actually going to try and sleep and see if you get woken up by what they're getting woken up with, or are you just going to sort of sit up and just try and get
I
through the
wouldn't,
night? Lots of coffee.
Some of the guys said that they'd like to sleep and see if they get anything in their sleep, whether they
Yeah.
get woken up or, touched or anything like that. But I'm
Maybe
going
you
to
can
try to
do
sleep.
50-50.
Yeah. So depends who wants to sleep. Some people might
D,
not like to sleep.
D's saying
What are you
those
going
two
to do,
girls
Jamie?
are going to go and giggle all night.
Hey,
D's saying those two girls are going to giggle all night.
probably. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's it. We've been on for almost an hour. So, Rob, thanks for joining and helping answer some of these questions. We get questions quite a lot. A lot of the time, they're the same sort of things. So they're the questions that I sort of pick to answer when there's a lot of people asking the same thing. Take care, Sarah. Um, but yeah, no, we're really looking forward to when we get back from overseas is to catching up with you guys out at the manor at the Oaks, and some of the other things that we've discussed that we can sort of start planning and get
Yeah.
into when
I'm
we
looking
get
forward
back.
to those.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I really we can't obviously can't go into it, but I really like the fact that we have the same philosophy on um, how to investigate and respecting and having boundaries as well. I mean, we can do all this investigating, but there needs to be we need to have a moral compass, and not everything has to be broadcast, and it's about respect, really.
Very true.
Yeah, excellent. All right, guys. Well, thank you for everyone that has joined us or who will watch this live. Please go over and like Sydney Paranormal Case Files on YouTube, and you'll be able to see Rob's investigations there, and Sydney Paranormal League on Facebook. Do you have a website?
It is. It's down at the moment with maintenance, but it'll be up in the next week.
Okay, and what's the website?
sydneyparanormal.com.au.
Excellent. Okay, great. All right, guys, have a great weekend. It's very chilly in Western Sydney. You're not far from us, Rob, so I noticed you've
No
got the big
reason.
jacket on. It's getting colder and colder.
No,
So
it is.
have a great yeah, have a great weekend, and Rob will catch up with you when we get back from overseas.
No worries. Looking
Um,
forward to it.
Excellent. All right, cool. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night. See ya.